Uh, I've been in sports and media entertainment for about 20 years now. Create really good relationships with the programming managers across the country here in Chicago, and I was able to I was offered an opportunity to concept an MMA show, and so that's what we did. We concepted a mixed martial arts show. We pitched it. We got picked up. We started the only national amateur tournament in the country. Recorded it for television. It was team versus team, state versus state. Got picked up by NBC Sports here in Chicago. Elite Amateur Fight League is the national tournament, and Elite Fight Night is basically your pro-am version of regional MMA. But everything we do, from my perspective, I didn't get into MMA because I was an MMA fighter. I used to be a boxer back in the day, but I got in from the television side out, right? So our products are all heavily produced for television, on TV, with broadcast partners. And as far as live events and live sporting events and all that kind of stuff, that's really where the most of my experience lies, right? To have really good events, impactful sports-driven events, tournaments, absolutely tournaments. I have a national amateur MMA tournament from competitors from across the country, so we can do that. Part of my job really fits well with Area Scouts as far as what you guys are trying to do and what you're looking to grow. And I think I'd be a good fit, and not so much on a lower level, but on a higher level to really help this thing explode. MMA is a no-brainer, right? I mean, we're connected with the biggest gyms from across the country that have UFC champions. Amateur kids MMA is starting to blow up. Kids jiu-jitsu is big. That leads in MMA. Kids wrestling programs are huge. That leads in MMA. But that's a no-brainer. That I could do with my eyes closed with the connections that I have across the country. I grew up playing football. My teammates are Donovan McNabb and Simeon Rice in high school. We run 4 state championships over at Mount Carmel in high school. So I'm a football guy that grew up boxing in South Chicago.
So I got a guy that is coming on board in New Mexico. Really awesome guy. His wife's going to be involved in it, and really looking to scale like New Mexico, Arizona, getting kids on board on the MMA, boxing, wrestling side. And I would love nothing more than to, and this is going to be, as he knows, I told him it's going to be probably a 90 to 120 day process to launch this, get all the social media, all the marketing out there and so forth. But my very next thing with him was going to be to say, okay, now let's get somebody that's got the experience to, promote some events for us. Cause that's ultimately, as you know, we preach health initiative, as you know, to keep the kids healthy, and then strength and conditioning, performance. But at the end of the day, the parents want to see what that translates to. It's not, even though they want to keep their kids healthy and they want performance, they still want to see it in action. And that takes having events and tournaments and that sort of thing to do it. So we either partner with organizations that do that, or, what I'd like to do on this side of things, as far as the fighting, boxing, wrestling side, would be to have our own. I really would like to, if this is something that you'd be possibly interested in.
Absolutely. And also as far as the media goes as well, right? I think media with all of this stuff is the turning point when it comes to profitability. Parents want to see their kids compete so they can measure their skills. Doing that on a level where we can put it out to, possible recruiters is hugely important when it comes to getting these kids the exposure they need to get to the next level, right? I think something Area Scouts should really concentrate on is making sure we capture that media footage so we can get these kids the most exposure as possible. Competition out there on a national level for kids to compete and prove themselves, but also then capturing that competition and showing the rest of the world what happened. I know UFC level coaches, right? So the national championship really is what got me into these bigger gyms, American Top Team, Jackson Wink, Fight Ready MMA, all of these gyms that have, UFC champions. I can walk in those gyms and say hello. They know who I am. I can get some A-level talent to come out to these things and maybe even put their name on it, right? And especially like Holly Holm for the females, or Henry Cejudo while turns, publicly he's the cringy guy. Personally, he's really, really strong backing for USA Wrestling, and getting that program advanced. That's where he came from. So like, I know a lot of these guys will jump on if it's for the kids. I've done events from coast to coast, from California to Florida to Virginia, here in the Midwest. A lot of these new, multi-sport complexes are open to doing these kind of tournaments, right? So here in Northwest Indiana, I've got a beautiful venue. It's about 3 years old. It's gigantic. They have everything from gymnastics to volleyball tournaments. I run one of my MMA shows there. That would be a perfect spot. It's centrally located in the Midwest, and it's a brand new facility, and I basically have free reign on dates. I just need to give them some time, so I make sure I get in there and get these dates scheduled.
And what type of ramp up period do you typically need to promote an event?
We generally try to do 3 months in advance. Okay. So we try to start marketing 3 months out, if not a whole quarter, right? If we're doing 4 events a year, or 3 events a year, I try to do 3 events a year and market the hell out of each event.
No, I'm sorry, Mike. That's who I was thinking in my head. So Michael Chandler is going to help us. I met him in June, but he's going to be one of our directors on the MMA side. But Brian was the guy that I was talking about, the guy in New Mexico that's coming on board.
Gotcha.
So I'd like you to meet him, and then we can start planning kind of a plan of attack for setting up some of these events, because I definitely want to do that. And like I said, the partners are all about doing it too.
My programming manager connections are just they're huge. I can definitely get some of this stuff on TV with good talent as far as play-by-play or somebody speaking factually about the competition. You've got it. That's really where a lot of people miss, is they go out and they get their friends to be the play-by-play guy or some coach that's coached them for years. You need professional talent to have professional content that you can get on television. And
do you have those guys as well?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What broadcasting would that be on? Like cable,
well, we would start with RSNs, right? Regional sports networks that are looking for content outside of their natural sports. For instance, here in Chicago, we have Marquee Sports Network that has the Cubs and nothing else. So after baseball season, they're starving for content. We've got NBC Sports Chicago with the Cubs and with the White Sox and the Bulls and the Blackhawks. But they still ask me for content, even though they have 3 teams. There are several of those stations across the country that need content for people to watch that's sports related. On a national level, we're connected with Sinclair, Fox, and Stadium. Those are 3 huge, opportunities that are always looking for kid stories. So if we could concept a show around what Area Scouts is, what it does for kids, and then show a competition, I think that's something that we could build a sizzle on that they would be really interested in.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.